you were going to do it right away.
I know.
No, because I know.
But that's how I took it. So I tried my heart at.
But what we're saying all the time is that, you know, for these things that are really difficult and hard, both for the horse and the rider, you need time and you need to work on the basic stuff. So, and it wouldn't be interesting for you guys either if he just did it. And I would be very embarrassed because it took me like 6 years to get to where we are now.
I think perhaps one of the most useless instruction videos on the Pirouette I've ever seen is done by one of the best riders I have ever seen. It's out there on YouTube somewhere. It's Diego Ventura, famous Portuguese bullfighter.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, so you ride the pirouette, you do like this, you ride the canter, and then you do a pirouette like this, 1, 2, 3, and then he's done 3 pirouettes, and you're like, okay, yeah, I can count, I knew how to do that already, actually, and I have no idea how you did that. It looked like magic to me. So what we're going to do is to unpack magic, and see if we can teach a bit.
Yeah, and see what you have to do. Before even you start doing the pirouettes.
Can't you just start?
Yeah, and we need to say about Dalton. You both me and you have done something that is, you could say that it's a pirouette because the horse is turning on the haunches in canter, but that is not what we want to train. We want to train a pirouette that is good for the horse. That when he bends in the hindquarters, put weight on the hindquarters, and lifts with his back.
Yeah, actually, I always like to do this to try and compare riding to training.
Yeah,
like training for people, and. What we're going to try and do is to sort of deconstruct the pirouette so that we can understand why we would ride a pirouette. What is it that becomes better in the horse by doing a good pirouette?
Yeah.
It's like when you go into the gym, you can always try, let's say you want to do some squats today, and your squats are fine until you reach some particular weight. And at this particular weight, or after X amount of lifts at a lower weight, your technique breaks down. Mm-hmm. That's what you call a technical failure of the lift. Mm-hmm. And if you allow the technique to break down, then you will start training something else. You're no longer training the muscles that you thought you would be training. Or some such.
Yeah. When you get really tired, you're starting to train the wrong ones again,
mm-hmm.
because you're falling into the whole old habit.
Yeah. So what we will try to do is to show what is it that we succeed in doing with our pirouette training now with Dalton, mm-hmm. and what is it that we need to do more of to get to progress mm-hmm. further. Mm-hmm. That's more or less what we're going to try and see. So. From what I understood when we did our when I came down to actually listen a little bit to what we were supposed to do today.
You don't need to be that honest, you know.
I find it funny. But anyway, what we are supposed to do first is to show some before. Some before pictures, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you fill me in?
Yeah, let's do the before. No, it's not the before picture. It's the one when Dalton moves in the way that he thinks is right.
Oh, right, yeah. So
it's the one with back down.
So it's not before chronologically, but it's before, if you want to look at before you do it the right way and after you do it the right way. So
let's see that picture. Yeah, this is Dalton this is how he wants to go.
Yeah.
In canter, with a bum in the air. And you can't lift anything in that position.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
On the front legs, I suppose.
Yeah, and what we're going to see in the videos is that the horse, Dalton really thinks that is possible, because he can just throw his head up in the air and use the underneck to lift the front legs up, and then you do this and then just throw himself around.
Which
he's very good at that.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, and I think it's an important point for everybody out there, that even when he canters like you see in this picture, it feels soft.
Yeah.
And how on earth does he do that? And he does that, of course, because he manages to let the energy dissipate somewhere other than through the back and up to your bum. So you can't feel him there, and you can't really feel him on the hand either.
But the problem for me, because I've got a back that is, my spine is crooked and weak.
Yeah.
So when he does that, he makes this
this
movement, and that is really painful.
But not in this particular movement.
Okay.
This what we're seeing on the screen right now is soft, and he will go like that, soft, and then there will be the most minute little thing on the ground or something, and he will bloody break your back.
Yes,
and
I know. That was what I mean.
So that, but it's an important distinction.
Yeah.
In this particular moment, feels soft.
Yeah.
And
but
even if your horse moves like this, it'll feel soft.
Yeah, but he is on the forehand, and he's not able to turn very efficiently. Yeah, it might, when you see this picture alone, it might just be not look that bad. But can we see the one with Pelle when Dalton is moving the way he should? And this is the same horse, the same day, just in another.
I don't know if it was before or after even.
This is after, because that was one of the last.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, so this in this moment he's able to lift his back up and lift his forehand from the hindquarters.
Yeah, even from the outside hind leg, which is the only one that's weight bearing at this particular instant, and that the left or the off hind leg is underneath the hips of the horse and pushing off from that movement.
So if Dalton was able to do this all the time, even when there is difficult things to be done, then he would be able to do the pirouette correctly.
Yeah, I think you might even say that with I don't know how to say this, with an even better rider, he might be able to do it now. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think you're very self-critical here. Yeah.
Thank you, but my point is that it's always possible to get more out of the horse than I do or you do or whatever.
Yes, but then again, you have this problem that people say it's always the rider's fault. And that's not true, because that is unfair for the horse.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is not the rider's fault. This is the rider's achievement.
Yes, and you're actually trying to help the horse to become even better.
Did it too.
Yeah, and you did it. So the horse has some troubles, and the rider needs to take responsibility for helping the horse to become better.
Yep.
That is the way I see what is our duty as a rider.
Yep.
And not just taking the blame for everything. Oh, it's my fault. That doesn't help anyone. No.
Stand up straight and carry your weight.
Yes. And there is also a picture of me earlier this fall.
Yep.
Can we see that one as well? That is when he's cantering. That is also very nice to see too. And his bum is not that up in the air. It's
somewhere in between what we just
longer
saw.
strides, but he's very open in his outline.
Yeah.
And he's not able to shorten up, as we saw in the last stream when we were doing the piaffe. We could see that when he is very open in the outline, it's very difficult to do the transition down.
Yeah.
to a shorter, like a more collective thing, to do a transition down to the piaffe, or here the transition to shortening up to do the pirouettes.
Yep.
It would be possible for him here to just stop up and do the thingy with the head and pull the front legs up after himself.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not the way that we would like to do.
That's not the way.
That's the way to get migraines. Believe me.
Probably, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, using these muscles to just pull. No, it's not a good thing.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So, shall we? We have the first video is not us. It's Ida and Timmy. And what I wanted to show with that video is that Timmy has some of the same problems as Dalton, but he is basically a better quality horse, and also he's not stuck in the same way. So we can show how we work in a very basic way, long before we start doing the pirouette, starting to help the horse loosen up in his back so that the canter moves, he can move better in the canter, and not this way with the neck, but just this way over the back. Yep. And because I was so lucky that I was filming Ida when she was riding Timmy, and exactly the moment when the whole body, the horse just exploded in a big cuff, like, and then the whole back and the whole top line loosened up, and he was cantering in a better way. So we need to make sure that there is no blockages in the top line, because then you won't be able to do the pirouette.
So, let's watch it.
Yeah. You can see here that Timmy is often opening his mouth, and he's like tense, and he's lifting his head. And here, I think it's difficult to see when that cough really comes. I think it's coming like now, soon.
What's the last one?
Let's see, he's trying to stretch, but his nose comes behind the vertical. I think we'll have to see it again. Because when there is no sound, it's more difficult to recognize when it actually comes. So you see, she takes half halts, as we have been talking about long there. And when she gives, he stretches, and then there is a big cough. Let's see now if it's here. Here, I think. She takes half halt, and then he balances more.
Helt I begynnelsen av Volta-filmen, Hanne.
Yeah. Ida says that it's right in the beginning of the movie.
Once more then.
And now you can see also that the trot is becoming even better, and he's stretching downwards with his neck and head.
You see here?
Yeah. And he loses it.
The cough comes there.
No.
There we go. And now he finds the rhythm.
There.
See?
You could see that when I was said there was a cough. And he stretches like that, and he loosens up. So this is just an example of the things that, just to remind you that the basic work is done in like way before you're doing the pirouette.
Yes.
And in the next one, the video number 2 is about you doing it in walk.
All right, let's see.
And you can see that Dalton, he really wants to pull his head up, neck and head up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see that Timmy was stretching his head, and after the cough, he was stretching his head and neck downwards. and when Dalton is moving like straight forwards, it's fairly easy for him to walk in a good way. But when you try to do something more, it's more difficult for him.
Oh yeah, I get this.
Oh yeah,
Looks like this one.
yeah.
No problem. Right, so you can see here that he tries to just drop his back and pull his head up, which is the same movement. Those two things are the same. You can see it at the walk. He wants to pull his head up a little bit every stride, and I try to allow him to stretch and ask him to stretch at the same time. The difficult thing is that if you want the back up, you need to have legs further back and ask for more energy. But the more energy you put into this guy, the more he tenses up his back and the more he lifts his head up.
Yep.
And the more you have to hold him, and everything just becomes more and more difficult.
Mm.
So what we're trying to do is to ask just a little bit all the time. And now we try to canter. You can see that he wants to drop the back really good every stride, and his head wants to come up. And I try here. Here I'm trying to ride a pirouette. You can see how easy we find it. Not at all, right? So there's nothing in that.
Yeah, so here I thought this was another video with just the walk. So, but we can see here that when you're trying, because the pirouette is actually, it's not a, many people think that the pirouette is like riding a circle, but it's not. You have to ride sideways.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think sideways. It's just like a traverse. What's it called? Haunches in.
Yeah, or half pass.
Half pass. You go like, I'll have to see it like this, and you do this.
So just
first you can do the traverse is like this, and then you do like a little more like this, and then
so
you end up with turning on the haunches.
You have to bring the front around faster than the hind.
So that is what you're doing here.
So you can see the first stride that goes here, the first stride is sideways, maybe the second, and then it turns into a circle.
Yeah, but that is a good thing, because if you press him too much, he will tense up and then he will stop.
He already he's already on the edge.
Yeah, but then
here,
when he was tensing up, you rode on,
mm-hmm.
because if you press him too much, he will stop or lose the rhythm, and then you will sort of teach him to break the rhythm,
yep.
And that is not a good thing. So you need to just keep the fluency.
Yep.
Let's try. I wonder if it's like the video number 4, that is about.
Let's go.
Yeah, this one is about walk, because you start in walk, and you can see here that he is tensing up with his head up in one part of the stride, and that is because he's stiff there. And then we need to walk slowly and work. This is in the traverse again, and he's like sort of stretching his muscles, mm-hmm. in that movement. So the place that is tight, that makes him lift his head, gets a little stretch.
Yep.
And this is the versade, like the shoulder in.
So yeah, we get that once more. This is fairly interesting, because we can show an important fault. I will show you when we get back here. So for the haunches in here, we can see that we get onto a straight line about here. The horse is a little bit too much bent in the neck, but if I straighten him more, he'll lift his head more. He needs to be a little bit more relaxed and allow him to be a little bit more bent. So when we move into the shoulder in here, you can see that I don't actually move to a shoulder in, because Did you see that I moved his haunches out?
Yeah.
That's not a shoulder in.
No, it's a bum out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the same movement.
No.
And that is an important point, because the most difficult thing to manage with Dalton isn't to bring the outside hind underneath. That isn't difficult. And you can see it in this haunches in. You can see the outside hind comes underneath just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that the inside hind, he lifts it up forward, and then he takes the leg back before it hits the ground. You see that?
Mm.
Because he does not want to bend the inside hind.
On both sides?
On both sides, but maybe even worse on this side.
Yeah.
So you can see that he has to change the rhythm and then move his bum out in order to do something that looks like a shoulder in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important point, because what we're trying to show here is how the exercises are supposed to strengthen or make the horse more flexible.
Mm-hmm. Because we're not doing this just to make a trick. Or just show people that we can do it.
I don't care about any of those things. I only want the horse to train the different parts of his body.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, slow-mo even.
Yeah. And now it was really easy to see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it fires too much.
Yeah.
There's too much push and too little carry.
That is his pogo stick leg.
Yeah, he wants to straighten the knee and he wants to drop his lower back at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is the same sort of set of muscles.
Mm.
It's like the psoas grip and also the hip flexors.
Yeah.
Hip flexors, most of those, they will also stretch the knee joint.
Mm.
And he wants to bring that whole thing underneath. So I'm not talking about, let's see, if that is the, how do I normally do this? There we go. If this is his hip and this is his femur, he wants to do this, but he doesn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is exactly what he managed to do in that strike off into canter that I managed to catch and that we saw in the
one
picture.
photo, yeah. But there too, you can see that he is very good at carrying on the outside hind.
Mm.
But you would have seen that he wants to straighten the inside hind before it takes the ground. And when it hits the ground, then it will push the back the wrong way.
Mm.
And that is perhaps the main problem with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think we have another one in walk. Shall we try number 5 just to see what it is?
Because it's a blank here. Let's see.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah,
I was right. I was right.
Yeah. So here we do half pass, and then we walk shoulder in, and then we walk half pass again, and then we turn.
And then you're doing actually the pirouette in walk.
Yeah. So
because you need to, if you're not able to do it in walk, you will not be able to do it in the canter.
Not likely, no.
No.
So he did pretty good. I can remember that. If you can read my lips in Norwegian, you can see that was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you let him stretch a little.
But here it's the same thing. He wants to bring that right hind, wants to go towards the right, even when he now. You see?
Yeah.
He opens up, and he doesn't properly cross over with the outside hind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a rhythm problem right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that rhythm problem is connected to the collection.
Mm.
If he was able to bend his knees properly, then the rhythm would have also become correct.
Mm.
But the exercise itself, this is a really good exercise. I can highly recommend trying that if you're at that anywhere near that level. Try and ride haunches in, or like what we do here, half pass. So like half forward, half sideways, and then do the shoulder in for a little stretch, and then move sideways again. Because even if the quality isn't perfect, then the transitions between the exercises will aid the different qualities
in the right direction.
Yeah. So in the beginning, when you try to train any exercise in the beginning, you will find that it is extremely hard to stay within the parameters of the correct exercise over any period of time. And you can liken that to if you don't know how to balance on the, what do you call it, the slack line. If you don't know how to do that, but you want to try, you won't succeed for like an hour at a time. You might manage 1 or 2 strides if you're lucky, or if you're really good, maybe. So if you're training well, you will do a little bit of a transition between managing and not managing. But even getting up on the line and staying there for a second will teach the nervous system something. And the same thing happens when you're riding, when you do those different exercises where one is sideways like this and then forwards and then sideways again and then forwards. That when you change direction, the hind legs will do a slightly different thing. So you'll be touching in on something that's more difficult for a stride or two. And that's very important to train
over time.
Very much. Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why you should never try to just force the horse to do this in just 2 weeks, because or of course if the horse is prepared for it, that would be,
then
you
it
can
wouldn't
try.
be forcing.
Of course you can try.
You're also always allowed to try. Even it's like this even. So if I want to hurry up and get an exercise done, normally if I want to hurry, that means that I'll have to trade away some quality in order to get the quantity that is the exercise. So I can turn the horse around on the haunches, but probably his head will be in the air. There will be no bend in the hind legs. The back will drop.
I can do
the
that as
rhythm
well.
will be useless. There will be no bend in the horse, and so on, right?
So horses more or less will fall to the side.
Yeah. That's an easy thing to do.
I can do that with Dalton anytime, but that is no fun.
I've done that this week, I think. So yeah, but it's not. It's fun once, and then it's not fun anymore.
And then it's also is sort of reinforcing his faults.
Yes.
So I don't want to do that.
Yeah, reinforcing his faults / not training the weaknesses.
True.
Yep.
So the number 3 here is when you're doing canter with his head, like when he's trying to pull the front legs up. Let's see number 3, just to see how he's trying. There he's carrying himself well, but as soon as he's asked to do something that is more difficult,
we trot 8 steps and then his back drops.
And then
now he pulls his head up.
And then Pelle just stops because it's easier to correct him when he's able to try again, like calmly.
The one of the most important positive aspects of riding the canter is that there's a lot of momentum in the movement, and that momentum is there in the horse and the momentum is there in the rider. So you have you can very strongly influence the balance of the horse at the canter. And one of the worst aspects about the canter is that you will very strongly influence the balance of the horse with your movement. So it's the same both ways, right? It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. You see here that when my hips start moving about here, he starts trying, but then our momentum down the hill drops the back a bit, so we have to rebalance, and then I lean forward a little bit to allow his back to start lifting. But then when I sit back, his back starts dropping and I take the speed back down.
Yeah.
I think that should be...
Yep.
That's what I did, at least. I don't know if it's a
Shall
good...
we see what's in this...
number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
Just like the Christmas calendar, you know.
Wrong month only.
Yeah.
I know what's in number 6. It's mud. November 6th, mud. November 7th, mud.
So you're trying to start a little with the piaffe just to collect him a little?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Actually, I'm not trying to start with the piaffe. I'm trying to collect him a little.
Yeah.
And he says, "No, I'm not really interested in your collection."
But then now you were trying to ask a little, and he was trying.
He tries just a little.
So and
But you
and
see
we
here
need
he-
to try.
Yeah, he's dropping his back so much that you couldn't put his bum underneath there no matter what you did.
No.
You'd have to, all the joints would have to be at 45-degree angles or more. 90 maybe. And he's trying his little circle.
Yeah. And you
He's
know,
not-
it's in the beginning. It's okay to try and
Yeah, and some
let
of the
him-
strides here in the trot canter just before the canter transitions here. There's some interesting, maybe even pretty good action in the hind legs. So this is of course just a
he
circle.
falls apart a little.
Yeah. So some of these strides, you will see that the hind legs are doing a pretty good job. You see this?
Yeah.
But it's not good enough.
No.
You see what happens is that he pulls his, it looks like he moves his, what do you see? It's a cannon back. Just as he lifts it off the ground, it lifts it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the springy movement you want. That means, or it comes in this instance, of course, because it comes from his back not being able to lift.
Mm-hmm.
And then that, when he doesn't lift the back, that movement reinforces how the rider pushes down in the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
Every time the horse lands on the ground, you push down into the saddle and you reinforce that
Yeah.
tension in the back. So which is the reason why you can see that when I do the up transition, both in this one and earlier, you saw that I lean forward just a little bit.
Yeah, I do that as well. If you lean back too much, he will drop his back
Very much so.
very much.
Yeah.
And then he will get stressed.
Mhm.
So you need to sit lightly
Yep.
on him.
Yeah. But then you have to sit down again to make him take the weight back.
Yes.
Which is
that
the really
difficult
difficult part, to try and find the balance between those. I hope that was pretty clear. That quite often, if you want to do a good up transition with a lot of collection in it, sometimes you will need to lean forward just a little bit in order for the horse to be allowed. Like instead of you pushing down here, you try to allow the horse to come up. So you lean forward just a little bit in the beginning to allow the back up, and then you try to sort of catch the wave and roll on with it. But it's not easy. But hey, we didn't sign up to this because it was easy.
And also he is a horse that tends to tense up.
Yeah.
And especially when there is something new. When he's asked to do something that he hasn't done right now.
2 seconds
Two
before.
seconds, yeah. If you'd
So
done it
ne-
yesterday, that's forgotten. So he has to be sort of slowly introduced to every new thing that he has to do that day, and then so a little to the side, and then good boy. That is what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that his random access memory is probably like 1 byte or something like that.
Yeah, he's quite special. in that.
Yeah, quite
Yeah.
special is what he is. He's a special boy.
So but in I think number 7 is also when you're trying to take some steps to the side.
All right.
Yeah, let's see. And here is more relaxed. Not there, but
Oh, he tries.
yeah, and there you can see that you could see there that he is able to go sideways if he's allowed to
Yeah,
move with his head up in the air.
yeah.
So he had some good strides there.
There are
And
a
then
couple that are not too bad. Like the canter here is getting close to something that you can use.
Yeah.
And then I try to use it, and it becomes a little bit too difficult, and then he drops out of the canter. But he knows he's supposed to canter, so he catches the canter again, and then he drops his back and pulls his head up, but he magically keeps cantering, and then he's like, I can do sideways now, finally, because we have exchanged all of the quality in order to make him move sideways. It's not here, it's just the couple of strides here. 1, 2, maybe 3, 2.5, 3 strides that are sort of sideways. If you look at only the hind legs, they're not too bad. But also, if you look at only the hind legs, if you watch the hind legs now, all of you, please watch the hind legs. Oh, we're going slow-mo again. Brilliant. So he drops out of it here. You see he steps out to the side. But then we come into the canter again, and now he's scrunched his back up, but you see he's wide behind. He does 1 stride, 2 strides, good, and then he becomes very big in the stride again, and of course that has to mean he goes forward, because he's not able to ask himself to bend more in the hind legs while they're carrying weight.
But this is a little similar to your example with the slack line. Because the first time you try this slack line, you're really struggling, and your legs go wobbly, and you fall down. But you need to try in order to get the hang of what this is all about.
I wouldn't know.
No, because you never try.
I never try. I just either do it or fail.
But if you what I saw you doing there is that you're getting the horse in a quite nice canter, and then you try some steps to the side.
Yep.
And then he is allowed to freak out or lose it or fall apart, that he in the way that he does, and then he finds a good canter again afterwards.
Yes, and as you can, even when he drops completely out of it, and it sort of ruins his own quality, because I would like to say that I don't do that here. It's not me that's ruining the quality. Well, you could always do better, but it's not me that's ruining the quality of his canter at the moment. So, but what he does is that he drops out of it, he drops his back, and then he messes up where he's supposed to put his hind legs, because the rhythm can't be kept up while the back is stiff like that, and his head comes up, and I give him enough room so he can run around like that for a little while, and then I just keep moving my body towards where I want to go, and he goes, oh, I have to and then he finds something that resembles a rhythm again, and it tries once more, and that's and you have to allow for that, but there is always a period of time before you get to that when the horse actually tries to do what you want to do.
Yes.
Because he is trying.
Yep.
He's not good at it, and he's struggling, but he tries to do what I ask. But before you get to that, there's a time, and many riders are in this situation for a long, long time, where the horse tries to not do what you ask. And quite often, it's easy to be tricked by this, because the horse is really clever at understanding what are we supposed to do here. If I'm supposed to open this gate, my horse will one of the horses I ride now, I've been stupid enough to open the gate and get out and in of the arena a couple of times, or I don't know, 20, whatever. And he now knows exactly how to move, to such a degree that if I let go for a quarter second of the gate, he will scrunch my foot against the gate, because hey, it should be open now. Because he knows exactly where to put his feet and how to place himself. But I didn't ask him to do that. I asked every little piece of the movement. It's a dance, and the when you did your dancing classes when you were young, you were taught to move your legs this way and then that one like this, and and now I can do this. This isn't dancing. This is just ugly fancy marching, right? But you need to understand that in order to get so that two people can move more or less together. And quite often that's what we're talking about in the riding arena as well. In the shoulder in, the horse should move on three tracks, and there are a billion little things you can say that are correct, all of them, but none of them encompass dancing or balance per se. You can't with words do that, because as soon as you try to be precise with words, you have taken a movement that is an analog movement, that is a complete flow, like water running down a stream, or better yet, up a straw. There can't be air in there. Shouldn't be air in there, because it won't get through, right? So, and that when you start wording it, you inevitably chop it apart, and you take it out and you say, "Oh, this piece is all right," but you just ruined it, right? And this is just a heart sigh.
Yeah, I
but
understand.
but the point is that even when we have talked about where to put the legs and where you should sit and what the correct rhythm is, and the back should swing, and the hind legs should be like this, and the haunches should be underneath, and the neck should be round, and the withers should be up, and the rhythm should be such that that's the tucked. But then there's a rhythm too, and there's all sorts of little things that you can use to aim towards something that would be an even better pirouette. But we always have to feel for that if the horse tries to do what you're asking, or if he tries to understand what you're asking, and then do that with the qualities he already has. The way we are trying to teach is that every movement has to have value and purpose beyond itself. So we're trying to, a squat doesn't mean that you are going to squat around wherever you go. It means that it makes it easier for you to walk a set of stairs, or sit down in a chair and get back up, or get out of your car, or run faster, jump better, ride better, all of those things. And we try to use every movement the horse does, whether it be the shoulder in, or the haunches in, or the pirouette, or the piaffe, in order to make the horse better at everything else. And then the different movements are like weighted towards special things that you can say. The shoulder in is weighted towards the inside hind outside fore connection, and bending the inside hind while being underneath the point of gravity. While the haunches in, or the half pass, have as their its main quality that the outside hind has to reach over into a very difficult position, and then try to carry from that difficult position. So,
what we're saying also is that you need to try, and you need to let the horse struggle, and you need to try to, with your body, lead the horse in the direction that you, or the movement that you want it to try. And then if the horse tries and he falls apart, he loses his rhythm, you just ride on and find the rhythm back.
Yeah.
And then
stop
and try again
and find the rhythm again.
Yeah, it's no problem. And the horse understands very quickly if we're not embarrassed if he doesn't do it correctly right away. Like it's just fun to practice. And then often then when the horse actually manages, you could feel that the horse becomes proud, because it's really fun to really get the movement. But we mustn't ask for too much, because then that will be very stressful for the horse, because it could be really painful as well if the horse is stiff and we try to make him do the pirouette without being able to do it in a good way.
Yeah, that whole it can hurt or be difficult or whatever. That is always true, but there's something in there that isn't said or communicated, And it's a little bit like this. If I want to do the splits, we know that I cannot. It's impossible for me at the moment to do the splits. I think that if you brought a revolver, you would probably have to shoot me to make me do the splits.
I said, I'll shoot you if you don't do the splits now.
Yeah, then you just shoot me.
You couldn't do it.
No. You can't threaten me to do that at the moment. But if I try very hard, you know how it is to stretch. It isn't comfortable. However, everything becomes more comfortable after.
Yes.
And this is, in my opinion, this is quite an interesting idea, because we can sort of look into the future. We know that if we stretch, we become better. We know that if we train, we become better.
I'm doing yoga.
You're doing yoga.
Yeah.
And it makes you stronger and better.
Yeah, but it's not easy in the beginning.
It's not.
It's painful even.
Yeah. And then what we're trying then really, really good to do is to sort of show the horse that if you keep practicing like this, it will be better for you.
Yeah.
And my experience is that the horses actually learn that, if I can call it learn. I'm not sure how it works, but when I've trained my horses, let's say I train my horses hard for 2 weeks. Then after those 2 weeks, the horses come to the gate and they're waiting when I normally train them. And I find that really strange, because my training is sometimes, for some periods, rather vigorous. And the horses are sweaty and they find it difficult. And still, they want more of it. I think they catch on and understand that this is probably good for me. And we can also see that quite often horses will rise in rank in their herds when they're trained well over time. If we dare say that we train the horses well. So I think that this is a thing. I can't prove this, obviously.
You can prove that the horses really like it, because they want to come and they are really eager to continue the training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. But
anyway, even if I can't prove it, I believe in it, and I can feel that my horses want more of that training. So I think that when we say that, okay, that it might hurt or it might be difficult and the horse might be frustrated and all that stuff, they also understand that that's needed to become tougher.
Yeah.
See what happens when you let the horses loose on a big field. They'll jump around and get rid of all the little blockages in their backs and hips and necks and shake it all about for hours at a time.
So what we are going to do now, after, because we have just started the training of the pirouettes with that horse, we're going to continue the training, and we're going to make videos of it, but it's going to take a little more than 2 weeks. It's not really, we're not going to see big results in 2 weeks for the next stream. But we have had some questions from one of our viewers, and she asked if we could show some more of how we train our young horses. And now we got 3 young horses that are in different ages and different stages in their training. And so we found perhaps we'll alternate between the young horses and the training of Dalton in the pirouettes, and perhaps also some flying changes in the canter, because he finds that incredibly difficult as well.
I do not volunteer for that one.
No, but you know that it's I think his problems are related. It's the canter that is really his problem.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Then we're going to investigate that, and we're going to show you how we're training and trying to help him getting rid of his troubles.
Because
it's very difficult to change that with just rewarding him for trying.
Yeah.
Because then he will understand that we want him to canter in the pirouettes, and that is not what we want. We want him to stretch his the troublesome parts of his body, and that is then if we try to reward him for that, our experience is that then we might get some other results that we don't want. So
I think
yeah.
I have a way of explaining something that might help people understand. I had the pleasure this weekend actually to be teaching some students that I've had for a long time, and one of them is a doctor, and she said in one of our discussions that and often a weak muscle becomes a stiff muscle, and this is, I believe, Dalton's problem. There is a section of his back that isn't strong. And this I carried something heavy out today, and I got to thinking about this because in order to carry it, I had to sort of hold it out in front of me like this, so it wouldn't. There was water in there, so it shouldn't spill all over the place, right? So I had to hold it like that. And it was really hard, and I didn't want to hold my elbows open like that. I wanted to close this angle up like this, but I couldn't
because then
it would get all the water on. So I wanted to shorten up that angle to close that angle because I'm stronger here than out here. Both because it's longer, of course, and because the angle of attack of the weight is completely different. And this is what Dalton is trying to do with his. Will this show? Forget about that. What he's trying to do is, if he tries to lift his back, this looks stupid, right? But if he lifts his back from the haunches like that, it's a long way from where the hips sink into the femurs are attached to the hip, the pelvis, my brain, and then all of the muscle on the back is supposed to lift that whole thing up, but it's too hard. And he can't do it. It's all right back here. He's really strong. His haunches are really strong, so that's not the problem. He can round the small of his back, the lumbar spine is all right. But then the front of the back, from where the saddle starts and forwards, that area is weak and stiff. So what he does is he shortens the levers. And it just brings his head up and closer to the haunches. You see?
Yes.
And when he does that, then it is easier to bump a back like that. But also, of course, that takes away all the suspension from the movement. So it just bounces straight off the front legs, which is horrible to sit on.
And also, as we have shown many times in the earlier streams, we have done all the other stuff with that horse, like stretching downwards, forwards, all kinds of lateral movements, riding out in the fields, and all the basic stuff. But this basic problem has been there all the time, and now I feel that this is maybe a good way to start trying to help him fix the problem, because sometimes you just have to go to the core of the problem and see if we can fix it directly. So
that's what we're going to try to do.
And you will get to follow.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting.
All right, I feel like we're more or less done.
Yeah.
We're done?
So then we've said what we're going to do next time. Then it's going to be the young horses, how we train them right now.
We've got a bunch of youngsters. They're so much fun now. It's the Gallant.
Yeah.
The Norwegian Warm Blood.
Yeah.
son of the mighty Ares.
Yes.
Then it's Mjolnir.
Yeah.
I
He's
can't
a
say
Lusitano.
it's impossible to say that word properly when you're speaking English. Mjolnir. That's what his name is, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's wrong. Deserve to be shot. Then it's Mandarb,
Yeah.
the Thunder Prince of a mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all
Knapstrup.
fairly young.
Yeah.
Young in the training for sure.
Yeah.
Gallant is just about what? He doesn't even have a proper year of training under
No.
his belt yet.
He's got some basic problems that we had to fix before we started lunging him.
And he's now moving
He's 4.
fantastically. I know because I accidentally let him loose today, so I watched him move really well, actually.
True.
Mjolnir, the Lusitano, he had to be retrained.
Yeah, he had also
He
got
had
some.
proper stiffness, and he's made a tooth look funky and all sorts of stuff. So we're retraining him. I don't dare sit up on him yet. That's God's honest truth right there. Mandarb wasn't really ridden when we bought him, and he was 5 years old. And that's a bit late to start a big, strong stallion like him. So that has had its challenges too. But it's horses. If it's not a challenge, it's just boring, right?
Yeah, and also what you're saying now is also that there are many things that we need to fix as early as possible in the horses before we start training them and riding them. Then I feel that it's easier to succeed with the training of the horses if we take those problems seriously in the beginning.
Yeah.
He's mine.
Yes,
Yeah.
we also have access to, I think we could call it, a very
Lipizan.
young Lipizan horse. And
He's 2.
Yes, so we got a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 6-year-olds. It's going to be great. So that's what's on the menu for next time.
Yeah.
We hope you guys will have either questions or just fun. Both are cheered on by us. I don't think I have anything more
we're
fun to
finished.
say tonight. Thank you guys for following. Please follow us on Facebook and all that jazz. And we'll see you next time.